The laughter still echoes in my head. It wasn't even real laughter. More like a reflex, brittle and hollow. The kind that hides behind the rim of a wine glass. I can still see his face. My husband's face. Pale and still. Like someone had slapped him without touching him. The dinner party was supposed to be light-hearted. Our friend group was small. Just 4 couples. Gathered around the polished oak table in our living room. Candles flickered. Jazz hummed low from the speaker. And I remember thinking how perfect everything looked. Perfect food. Perfect wine. Perfect lies. It was Daniel, my secret, intoxicating mistake, who said it. He leaned back in his chair, wine swirling in his glass, his grin sharp and careless. Not every man can measure up, right, Claire? His tone dripped with arrogance, but the others thought he was teasing. Only I understood the venom behind the words. The silence was sharp, slicing through the laughter. My husband, Mark, blinked once, twice. Then his gaze shifted to me, searching, questioning. I should have stopped it there. I should have said something, anything, to pull him back from that edge. But instead, I laughed. A nervous, thoughtless laugh that felt like betrayal leaving my lips. That sound, my own laughter, was what broke him. After the guests left, Mark didn't speak. He just walked upstairs, closed the bedroom door, and locked it. I stood there, frozen, wine still in my hand, staring at the door like a coward waiting for it to open. It never did. The next morning, his side of the bed was cold. The scent of his cologne lingered faintly, mixed with the bitter trace of my perfume. On the kitchen table sat an envelope, face down. My hands trembled as I turned it over. Divorce papers. He didn't leave a note. Just his signature. I sank into a chair, numb. The walls seemed to tilt, and suddenly every laugh from last night replayed in fragments, distorted and cruel. Daniel called later that day, his voice low and smooth, like nothing had happened. You okay, Claire? He overreacted. Overreacted? I whispered. You humiliated him. He chuckled. Come on. He's a grown man. It was just a joke. It wasn't a joke to him, I said. My throat burned. Then maybe he's not man enough for you. Something inside me cracked. I hung up. But the silence afterward wasn't relief, it was suffocating. The weight of what I'd done pressed down on me like air too thick to breathe. For weeks, Mark didn't answer my calls. His lawyer did, though, professional, detached, efficient. Every email felt like a nail sealing something I had killed with my own hands. The truth is, I didn't mean to fall into Daniel's orbit. He was magnetic, dangerous, everything Mark wasn't. Mark was gentle, steady, loyal. The kind of man who fixed broken shelves and remembered anniversaries. But after years of routine, I started craving chaos. Daniel offered it with a smile and a secret. At first, I told myself it was harmless. Just texts. Just drinks after work. Just words that made me feel wanted again. Then one night, it became more. And once it did, I couldn't undo it. Still, I never wanted to hurt Mark. I told myself I could control it, that I could have both, Mark's warmth and Daniel's thrill. But lies like that always find their way into the light. And mine found its stage in the cruelest way possible. A month later, Mark finally agreed to meet. We sat in a quiet cafe, the kind we used to go to on Sunday mornings. He looked thinner, tired. His hands were clasped on the table, fingers still stained with motor oil from the garage he managed. Why? He asked, his voice steady but hollow. Why him? I didn't have an answer that wouldn't sound pathetic. I don't know, I murmured. I was lonely. I felt unseen. He stared at me for a long time. You were seen. You just didn't like what you saw. His words hit harder than any scream could have. I reached across the table, but he pulled back. Do you love him? He asked. No, I said immediately. It wasn't love. Then why did you laugh? That question cut deep. Why did I? Was it guilt? Fear? Shame? Or was it that for one brief second, I wanted to seem unbothered, even if it destroyed him? Tears blurred my vision. I was stupid, Mark. I didn't think. He sighed, eyes glistening but calm. That's the problem. You never thought how it felt to be on the other side of your choices. Then he stood, left a few bills on the table, and walked away. I didn't follow. I couldn't. The divorce was finalized 3 months later. He moved to another city. Friends stopped calling. My mother's disappointment filled the silence I couldn't bear. As for Daniel, he lost interest soon after. The thrill faded, replaced by indifference. One night, I saw him at a bar with someone else, laughing, his hand resting on her thigh the way it used to on mine. I realized then that he had never wanted me, only the danger of what I represented. I left before he noticed me. Now, when I think about that night, it plays in my mind like a slow-motion film. The flicker of candles, the clink of glasses, the way Mark's eyes dulled as he heard my laughter. That was the moment everything ended. It wasn't Daniel's insult that destroyed my marriage. It was my silence that followed. My choice to laugh instead of defend the man who once held my entire world in his hands. And now, that world is gone. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear that laughter echoing in my head. Not Daniel's. Not the others. Mine. The sound of a woman losing everything, one careless laugh at a time.